Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy Ignite on the track, and I'm back with another producer reaction. Hey, I wanted to talk about that Terrace Martin video that I seen floating around on TikTok, talking about the difference between producers and beat makers. Hey, I thought he was right, to be 100% honest with you, because I kind of fall into that category myself. But I only seen one person reacting and talking about it, so I'm gonna play DJ Pain 1's video too. But I wanted to play the actual video first, so let's get into it. I might react throughout it, but I might hold my reaction to the end. I don't know. But without holding y'all, let's get right to it. So this is with Robert Glasper and Terrace Martin. Shout out to Hard Knock TV. Make sure y'all go subscribe, like, all that. I do suggest that everybody watch the actual interview. It was a good interview. This is the part that I seen clip.
On your Twitter timeline, you said not every beat maker is a producer. What made you put that?
I was at a little studio with some friends of mine, and I heard some songs I like. I said, who produced this? The rapper said, me, because he came from my class where I talk about producing, beat making. Anyway, the guy that did the beat said, me, I'm the producer, man. Don't take my credit. I'm the producer. I'm the producer. So I said, oh.
The one that I saw cut that part out a little bit, so I didn't understand what he meant by that, but okay.
Shit, hold on. Because I was on the east side of LA. These things could get vicious over here, man. Hold on, fellas, hold on. What did you do? He said, man, I sat there in my mama's house. I made the beat. I sampled that and did that and made the beat. I said, so how do you get the beat? He said, I emailed him the beat. I said, oh. Who wrote the hook? He said, he did. Who put the hook right there? He did. Who came with the concept? He did. Who mixed it? He did. Who shortened it? He did. Oh. So you're the beat maker and he's the producer.
See, that part right there, when I hear it the way that he describes it, I'm not mad at it. Even my social media tags have Ignite Producer. To be honest with you, I know that when I send out beats to a rapper or anything like that, I'm at that point just a beat maker. Somebody's going to take that, chop it, do whatever they want to do with it, and make it into an actual song. They're going to be the actual producer. I'm just going to get my production credits. That's all I care about, you know what I mean? I get the difference. And to be honest, some people might hear that and be offended by it, but I understand the difference.
You still get some publishing, you get your writers, but let's just call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I come from an area, and me and my folks still talk about this, to where if you a dude sitting at your mama's house or your big ass studio doing beats, and once you email those beats to an artist and they come with all these things, even down to who's gonna mix the record, and you just sitting back getting the money with the producer, that you're not the producer. Don't lie to yourself. And don't let them lie to you. You're the programmer, you're the beat maker. You are a writer on the song, but you're a beat maker, you're a programmer. Producing is a responsibility.
I get it. I get it. It just makes sense to me. You know, has an ear, has the thought process, you know, but that's the actual producing of the song and making the song and hearing everything and knowing when to put this there and when to cut this out, and when that's actually being a producer. Just making a beat and sending it out is not being a producer. I don't understand why people can't understand that.
You know, and producing doesn't all mean all the time who did the beat, who played on this. Sometimes producing is who had the gadgets mentally to get everybody of this caliber in the same room to make something happen. That's the producer who could keep everybody calm in the session to get the record done. When can't nobody else get the high E flat out of this singer, because they all say she can't do it because she uses auto-tune the fucking time, who could get the high E flat in tune?
That's real. I ain't at that level. Definitely not at that level. I hear what he's saying though.
And spending there 12 hours with her. I mean, these are production things, you know. So that's what I mean, where it is a difference. I'm not gonna let nobody tell me nothing. This is not opinion. This is just what it is. This is just law. A producer doesn't mean I'm the guy sitting at my mother's house doing the beat, emailing the beat. One time, if I do a beat right now and email it to Rob to submit to Black Radio, once I email that record, he's gonna say this, I like this. Let me put that right there, take that right there, take that right there, take that right there. And he produced it. I'm a programmer. I'm a writer, but I'm a programmer. I'm a beat maker. I'm not a producer. You're not a producer if you're emailing beats and you ain't there for the whole body of situation. You sent the beat, you're an emailer. And that's cool. But
you're an emailer.
Let's just start getting things, or as Teddy Riley.
Yo, that was crazy how he said it, though. I ain't gonna lie. The you're an emailer is nuts. I would have laughed, too. I don't want to be classified as an emailer, bro. I don't even know. I was rocking with everything you were saying, bro. Everything you were saying. But then I'm like, damn, bro. Like, why I gotta be that? I gotta be an emailer? That's crazy. That's crazy to hear that.
He says, you're not a producer, you're a reducer.
Again, I didn't like that part either. I would say, like, for someone who's just trying to get their name out there, like, how are they supposed to do that? Like, is it supposed to be just like, hey, all production from you should be just actual production? Like, hey, I'm in the studio with this artist doing stuff with this artist, or should I be putting out beats and sending them out to artists, putting them on YouTube, putting them on BeatStars? Like, what should I be doing? Because there's a lot of producers that do it. So, like, to me, it's like, I don't understand. I know, I guess, like, the community has shifted that way. So, like, it makes it more sense for people to just send out beats and put them up on, have beat stores and do this stuff than actually being in the studio producing with these artists. But I don't know. I think it comes off as a beat making purist way of thinking, to be honest with you. I'm not upset with it because I understand what he's saying. I just don't think that everybody has that opportunity to work with an artist to do a song when they're trying to get their name out there as a beat maker / producer.
I mean, let's just start getting things back into perspective. And I'm all for higher learning, and I'm definitely all for Black higher learning. So I want all my people to understand, don't be lied to. Don't think you're a producer, but you can become one if that's what you want to be one.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But this shit comes with responsibility. A lot of it.
I'm sure there's a lot of beat makers watching. How do you evolve from a beat maker to a producer? Is that just...
Hey, shout out to Nick Borelli, I hope I'm saying that right, for asking that question. Because that's a realistic question to ask based off of what he said. And I want to know what he's going to say. That's a realistic question. Please, thank you.
You got to get your Rolodex up. You got to meet a lot of people, know a lot of people. Sometimes as a producer, they're calling you for your relationships. If you get called to do a record, they're going to want his skill level. And if they want to give him that big check and say, we want to produce my whole album, they want Robert everything. Mm-hmm. It ain't just about, here's my songs. It's like, no, get that person, get that person, get that. That's a producer.
Can you call so-and-so?
That's the producer.
Get it for the homie rate?
That's the producer. That's the producer of the record. You know? He's one of the only ones I don't mind sharing production credit with, other than Soundwave and my other colleagues, because we all come to the table with musical and other relationships for the better of the record. Anybody could do a fresh beat.
That makes sense. I like that. I like that perspective and thought process to it. Yes. Okay.
Anybody. It's a program called Ableton now that's allowing people to do beats fast, and it's amazing. But the ones that play still rise above the rest.
Because they got that musical life vest.
And don't put them to the test, because you will come up less.
All right. So, seems like that was probably the end of that. Now, I want to see what DJ Payne 1 had to say about this. And because I think of him specifically, because I see him posting beats a lot on YouTube, and I think he might send out beats. I know he posted on BeatStars, and I think he might send out beats. So I wanted to see what he thought about this. So it's probably going to repeat some of this. I might skip through it. Hold on.
If you're emailing beats, if you a dude sitting at your mama house or your big ass studio, yourself.
You think you're a real producer. You are not a real producer if you email beats out. Terrace Martin himself said it. He's an amazing producer, multi-instrumentalist, definitely qualified to speak on the subject. In the writing world, if I'm a writer, right, and I submit an article to a magazine and there's an editor or an editorial board, and I email them the article because I'm working remotely, and they edit it and then they send it over to a layout designer who works for the magazine, and the layout designer adds it to the magazine and places it exactly where it needs to be. Maybe they shorten it. Then I'm not a real writer. And whoever submits photography the same way isn't a real photographer because they probably emailed the photo to the layout.
I think that's a great analogy, to be 100% honest with you. Because I think about that when it's like you just get credits on stuff, but you don't get like you're not a photographer if you send in a picture to the news channel about something that happened in your area. You're not a photographer. You just get credits.
Designer who cropped it a certain way so that it fit in the overall layout, and they designed the overall layout. So everyone's fake at their job if they email their art out. So what we're not going to do is get upset or offended. Everyone, it's a hot take. Again, Terrace Martin is an amazing producer, an amazing musician overall. But I want to know who's a real producer, because this conversation comes up a lot. Beat makers aren't the same as producers.
I see it in the producer community a lot. I definitely do. And I done heard it in some of my lives and some of the stuff I do just because I use Loop.
Now it's beat makers who email beats out aren't real producers.
I said, who produced this? The rapper said, me. The guy that did the beat said, me. I'm the producer, man. I made the beat. I sampled that and did that and made the beat. I said, you still get some publishing, you get your writers, but let's just call it what it is. If I do a beat right now, situation, you sent the beat, you're an emailer.
So according to Terrace Martin's video, a real producer
There go that emailer thing again, y'all. Crazy.
Number one, writes, records, and places the hook, because he said that a rapper who writes, records, and places a hook is now assuming the role of the producer. Okay. Number two, comes up with the concept for the song. All right, I want to talk about this. Number three, decides who mixes the record. Okay. Number four, shortens the beat. So if I send you a beat through email and you shorten the beat and you record a hook that you've written and you place it exactly where it's formatted to go, then you are now the producer. I'm no longer the producer. Got it. Number five, is present during the entire process of the song being created. Okay, cool.
That's always been a point of contention between producers and beat makers is, hey, I was actually in the studio when this song was being created. You're not the producer.
Let's go back to this list in a second. My main problem is that we're using traditional terms, traditional definitions to police hip hop when hip hop was always so
Ooh, he's about to get into something
non-traditional that many critics didn't even consider it actual music. They called it noise. They called it all types of stuff.
He 100% right. We went against the grain. Now it's so far removed from that element that people are policing it now. That's crazy.
And everyone who was an artist under the hip-hop umbrella was a fraud at best, right? They had a lot of worse things to say. I just don't know why we're playing their game to minimize the talents and contributions of our own colleagues, of our own people in the hip-hop space. But a lot of people treat the word producer as this really contentious title. I don't personally care that much. It's not a hill I'm gonna die on. But let's go back to that list. So I'm looking at the credits on the Black album. So if we look at Dirt Off Your Shoulder, listed as produced by Timbaland. I don't think anyone would call Timbaland a fake producer. It was recorded by Demo. Okay, cool. Demo is actually someone who works with Timbaland. So in this case, Timbaland selected the tracking engineer. It was mixed by Jimmy Douglas from the Magic Mix Room. So if Timbaland selected or recommended that they go with Jimmy Douglas, then he is in fact, according to Terrace Martin's criteria, the real producer behind this track. But if anybody suggested that it got mixed by that guy, then they are now the producer, I guess, because that's one of the 5 criteria. But Allure was produced by the Neptunes, and it was recorded by and mixed by Young Guru, right? So that's Jay-Z's go-to tracking engineer. Does that mean that Jay-Z is the actual producer on this track and the Neptunes aren't? Or does that mean Young Guru is the actual producer of this track? Now I'm getting confused, because remember, one of the criteria was decides who mixes the record. Another one was shortens the.
It seems like he's doing a deep dive and breaking down everything that Terrace Martin said, which I actually kind of like and appreciate, because it kind of gives me an insight and thought process of what he's thinking right now. Again, like I said, I wanted to see what he thought about this, because I feel like he's part of the newer beatmaker community, and I think Terrace Martin is too, but he just got a lot of that old school mentality when it comes to it. I think it's a good breakdown so far, so let's see what he's talking about. I might speed it up a little bit though.
There's a good chance that Pharrell and Chad Hugo were not present during that entire process, which is another criteria from that list. But before I continue, the Discord is getting super active with the beat collabs. I'd love to see you there. Join at patreon.com/DJPayne1. Shout out to all the members. I'm going to put a link in the description, and I'm going to pin a comment with the link so you can click on it, go there directly. I just posted a beat collab in it about
I definitely would be joining that Discord. And also, if you watch this video and want to join my Discord, it's the Cookup crew. It is live. It is new. So please bear with me. And I'm kind of new to running a Discord. I'm definitely new to running a Discord, but I am not new to Discord. Let's say it like that. So yeah, please join my Discord also, and also join DJ Pain One's Discord.
About an hour and a half ago, so already someone has started working on it. Come through. We're a very small community. There's no spam. We would love to see you there. Now back to the video. So let's take 2 other Jay-Z records off of a different album, Song Cry, and let's go with Hard Knock Life, right? Should Jay-Z have been credited as the producer for Song Cry because Just Blaze made the beat, but the beat didn't have the concept already embedded into it, right? Jay-Z had to come up with the concept. How about Hard Knock Life, right? 45 King, rest in peace, produced that beat with the little...
I like his approach to this conversation. He's approaching it with actual questions being asked about the credits that have been given to previous tracks, and using Jay-Z is a good example because he used a lot of the most prevalent producers in the early 2000s era, so it makes sense that he used Jay-Z as an example.
Annie hook in the chorus section, right? So he placed it so that it could be the hook. So already that's one of the criteria from Terrace Martin, right? He created the hook and he created the concept as well. He placed the hook, he formatted the beat the right way so that Jay-Z knew that the Hard Knock Life vocal sample was the hook, and he selected that portion of the sample to be the hook so that Jay-Z knew what the concept was. So the concept worked. I guess that makes him the producer, and of course he was credited as the producer, but that makes him more of the producer of the track than Just Blaze. But what if 45 King didn't select the mix engineer? Does that now strip him of his producer title? And honestly, to go back to the Black album, shouldn't Young Guru be the sole producer of the whole thing because he was probably present during most of it? I don't know. You see how blurry these lines get, and I just feel like, again, I don't care that much. I'm not going to die on this hill, but I don't see the purpose in making this distinction between beatmaker or reducer or programmer or beat faker or whatever we're calling them and producer. I just don't see the point in making this distinction. Ultimately, the distinction is about a title, not about credit, because Terrace Martin says you're still a co-writer, or you're still a writer, so you're still going to get your equity as a writer. You're still going to get your...
Right. And that was my point too, is like, I don't really care about what the title is as long as I'm getting my credit. So if I get my credit and get publishing, cool. I have never gotten none of that. So for me to even get any of it will be a success in my book. So I'm not going to be the dude that's like, nah, give me my credit. I'm not him. That's not me. So this conversation would have never had to come up in that room if I was in that room, because I'm not going to say some stupid shit like that. I'm just going to get whatever credit I get. You feel me? There's a different level to this shit.
Advance, which the labels call a producer advance. Go figure. The conversation is not about money or equity in the song. It's just about a title. What good does this do for the artist? What good does it do for the art overall? What good does it do for the culture? I don't know. I can't answer that. So this conversation just will not go away. What are your criteria for what makes a real producer? Drop a comment so we can argue with you in the comment section. This is a...
Ooh. Criteria for a real producer. I do think it's some of what Terrace Martin said. I don't think there should be such a negative connotation on being a beat maker. Let's just say that. Like, I looked at it like I produce a sound. So like, how can I not be a producer if I make a sound? Like, if I make these sounds come together and sound good and you're bopping your head to it, I produce that sound. How am I not a producer? Like, in just a plain term of just being a producer. In my mind, I think that like what people are doing as far as sending out beats through email and being an emailer, or putting beats on BeatStars, and whether you doing all that, you trying to be an active member of the producer community. So I can't hate on that. People selling beat kits, all that stuff. I can't hate on none of that stuff. It's what got everybody the chance to be able to be producers in the first place. So I don't know. Who am I to hate?
Crazy video. All right, Southside is talking about publishing deals.
I think the underrated part they overlook is the business. Shit.
Making sure your shit's right.
And that's the main part. No, they just give it away. A lot of these kids don't understand music. Like, they're doing a lot of dumb shit.
When do you think someone should look towards getting like a publishing deal?
When you stacked up on your publishing, when you created the leverage. Don't go get a publishing deal for $50,000 for 3 years. You dumb as fuck. Why would you do that? For 3 years, $50,000, that's not... You can go get a job. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
You can go get a job and make that much money. It's like stack up on it. Even if you want $250,000, that's stupid still for 3 years.
It's crazy because I actually never even thought of it that way. I would always... Okay, so this hits close to home. I'll tell you why in a second, but this is incredibly appropriate after the last video I dropped about Hit Boy's situation where he signed a bad publishing deal. He was a teenager. Okay, he was a kid. At 19, we don't know shit. I'm sorry, a lot of people were really harsh on Hit Boy, talking about, well, how did he not know the business? How could he sign a publishing deal? Because he signed a publishing deal for $50,000 with Universal Music Group Universal Music Publishing Group, UMPG, yeah. And people are like, yeah, how could he not know the business? Because he's 19. You don't know anything when you're 19. So 19, he was locked into a publishing deal. Age 19, I was damn near fighting for my life, going to jail because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Long story. But I don't know 19-year-olds who had IRAs and who had portfolios.
Yeah, that's crazy. What did y'all expect him to know? Like, that's nuts to me. I said in a previous video, if I would have got that kind of success at that age, I don't think I would have sustained it to my, you know what I mean, in my lifetime. So can I only imagine what kind of bad deal I would have signed.
And who had spreadsheets with their financial records. But that being said, Southside says something important about having leverage. I know a lot of people will take whatever deal comes their way because it's money, right? And 50,000 might seem like a lot. But as he was saying, most of these publishing deals nowadays, they're not MDRCs. They're not the deals that we talked about in the last video where I got the math all wrong, where you have to deliver a certain amount of 100% of a song in order to get out of that deal. The modern deals are term deals where it's like a 2-year deal, 3-year deal, 5-year deal. So 50,000 for 3 years, you know, you think, all right, 3 years can go by in a flash. $50,000 is $50,000. But yeah, you could just get even a part-time job and make more than $50,000 in that 3-year period. I always used to think of it in terms of just my catalog, what I was already generating from my publishing share on the applicable royalty side. So for example, I was offered a deal that was initially very close to $50,000. I think it was a 2 or 3 year deal. So very similar. I think it was like a 2-year deal with a 1-year option. So basically a 3-year deal. Very similar to what Southside was talking about in that video. And then the number got reduced. But even at nearly $50,000, I was looking at it like, wait a minute, I can look right now. I can look at because I was on Songtrust at the time. I can look at all my Songtrust statements and see that this one quarter I made 15,000, this other quarter I made 20, this other quarter I made 8. And so I'm adding that all up. And I'm like, if I multiply that by 3 years, I'm making more doing nothing but just sitting back and letting my publishing admin collect my money for me than I would if I'm getting a lump sum of 35,000, 45,000, 55,000, 75,000. So that put things into perspective for me where I just decided that, no, that doesn't make any sense. Also, I talked to a lawyer. Everyone should consult with a lawyer before they sign anything that affects their career, especially long term. But I didn't even think, a job. People can just get a job. You can get a job at like Aldi and make $20 an hour, and you work for 3 years if that's what it.
Yeah, 50,000. No disrespect to a lot of people that's out here working, but 50,000 over 3 years, you're gonna make over 50,000 at a part-time or full-time job. That's a whole fact. Way over 50,000. So for the fact that they're gonna give you that for 3 years is nuts to me. Again, I think that even being an older man, 41 years old, even though I understand a little bit more, I could see myself signing a bad deal still because I don't know something. Like he said, get a lawyer.
What you need to do to make money. And okay, cool, you're not desperate to take that 50,000 that they're waving in your face, but also everyone's situation is different. You know, they might really need that 50,000. For most people, I think 50,000 is a lot of money. Maybe it's life-changing money if you have a medical emergency, or if, you know, you're being evicted, or, you know, who knows what the case is. Maybe you're a felon and you can't get a job at Aldi. I don't know if they have those restrictions, but this information that I put out, I'm not putting this information out, and hopefully no one else is putting information out about the music business to mock people or to make fun of people for making poor choices. We've all made poor choices at one point in our lives. And you hear about a lot of great, successful musicians who have at one point in their life.
All right. So basically, I think I got the gist of everything with that video too. So I've been reacting to this mostly throughout the video. So I'm just going to sum it up how I feel, to be honest with you. Again, the conversation between beatmakers versus producers. I hate that we have to have this division. It shouldn't be that way. It should be just embraced because, again, if you weren't there for the beginning of hip hop, I won't even say the beginning. Well, I mean, it really was, but like, if you weren't there to see some of the triumph and some of the walls that were up and the barriers that were up before middle of America, white kids loved it. Like, that was the reason why people were getting in trouble with that stuff, because they did love it. There were so many walls and so many barriers, and it was anti-establishment, anti-police, anti-everything that went against hip hop. So for us to police it now and say, hey, you're not doing it the right way, kind of hypocritical, I think. And I think that we should, have a little bit more slack. But I understand, especially where Terrace Martin was coming from in that video, and I agree with some of his points and his concepts of it and with his thought, especially actually making the song with the actual artist and stuff like that. And like he said, get your Rolodex up. That's a all right response. Now that I think about it in hindsight, I liked it in the moment, but it's still hard, man. Some of these people are in like middle bumfuck of America. They're not finding no artists near them. And if they do, is it an artist that you really want to work with? I'm just being honest. But I I do agree with DJ Payne 1 a little bit more and what he was saying, especially about that part. And hearing what Southside said about the publishing deals and stuff like that, it gives a little bit more insight to the fact that, like, you got to know what you're doing when you're signing any of these deals. You got to know what your worth is, what your valuation is, all that stuff when you're looking at any of these deals. And like DJ Payne 1 said, he started looking at what he was already making and figured that he would make more than whatever they were offering in that 3 years, so it didn't make sense. If you're not in that position, you might look at it a little bit different. You know what I mean? It is all about perspective, but I wish everybody the best when it comes to those situations, and I hope everybody get the money that they deserve. Shit, let's all get it. You feel me? I appreciate anybody that come through and watch these producer reactions. Hey, it's Ignite on the track. Make sure you hit that subscribe, that like, that follow, that share, all that good stuff if I don't hit my head on the mic. And I appreciate y'all, and salute.